Hey, welcome vintage moto fans. This is a 1979 XR 185 that I built up to race back in the 80s because I was a complete four-stroke spaz back then, and if you wanted to race a four-stroke in the 80s, you had to build your own. They didn't care about the four-stroke versus two-stroke displacement rules that we have now, so I had to race in the 250 class. But even so, I still got my fair share of trophies. The only guys that would show up on a trail bike were the dinguses in the novice class. So to compete in some of the upper classes on this bike really shook things up at Santana Raceway. It would really mess with guys' heads when they hear a four-stroke coming in hot behind them. So I hate to admit this, but I was never that great of a rider. But I did get a lot of notoriety and underdog status in those days, which explains all kinds of things about me now. Okay, with all that said, let's fast forward to today and the vintage motocross scene. I still like the same bikes. I still enjoy that same underdog status. I'm still a confirmed four-stroke dork. And I wanted to just see if we could use that same formula and recreate the same magic, or did I just spend a whole bunch of money on a donor bike and spend a lot of money on parts and a lot of time and create a complete turd. I found this bike in Huntsville. It's a 1981 XR 500. It's in pretty good shape. And it ran pretty good, except for it kind of felt like it had a sock stuck in the airbox. So I tore it apart, replaced bushings, seals, everything that you might imagine being worn out on a 40-year-old machine. I took the shock and forks to Pro Action Suspension in Heber, and they set us up with custom springs, spring rates, and really dialed the bike for our rider. I made all the modifications for the vintage bodywork for the tank and side plates, fenders, all that kind of stuff. The frame was detail sanded and painted white. I built a custom pipe to go from the engine's stock header to the disc-style silencer. If you get on our channel, you'll see why we use disc-style silencers and the details on this particular one and why it's a great choice for these bikes, as well as a custom intake for our unifilter. All the while, I'm constantly checking fitment, clearances, making sure everything works. Oh, standing back and looking at this, it really gets my juices flowing. Can you say that on YouTube? Sorry about that. I just thought we needed some sexy music for those shots. Lots of final tweaking and adjustments, getting ready for a test drive. The beast is almost ready. Man, after all that sexy music in my head and all those high expectations, took it out for some high-speed passes, and it was a letdown. The only thing I could think of was maybe this 40-year-old King Carb was just shot, and there was no fixing it. I got on the phone with the good folks at Sudco, and I ordered a 38mm Mikuni VM. The specs and the jetting and how we set this carburetor up is a whole nother video. You can check that out soon on our channel. Here's a plug for Ace Hardware. The old intake from the King Carb didn't work on our Mikuni, so I went down and got some soft plumbing pieces and made a brand new, perfect intake. Success. Once I got this thing jetted right, it ran like a freight train. As you can see by Parker's face, testing at Jordan River Raceway went really well. He was super happy with it. The first actual race test is at the RMX series, the Winter Arena Cross Indoor Racing. Practices went really well. He was feeling good. So here's what makes all that tweaking and worth it. On that first gate drop, he pulled a solid hole shot and had a 2 or 3 bike length lead as he went into the first turn. This bike runs strong. In fact, it was slipping the clutch at this point. It was running so good, and we had to rebuild the clutch. So how'd we do? We used the same formula. Did we recreate the same magic of the 1979 bike? I think so. The bike is reliable, it starts easy, it's forgiving and fun to ride. You can ride it in the mountains, you can trail ride it just as easy as you can on the track, and there is not another one like it. That makes it really fun to play with. Oh, and did I mention this thing wheelies at will? I know, this is so bad, but I just have to say it. Nailed it! Thanks for hanging with us.